Ever wake up one day to patches of itchy red skin and you have no idea why? Hives are one of the most common skin irritations and are caused by a variety of triggers. Well, here to help us better understand through her own struggle is Sarah Birch, a chronic hives patient, I should say, and survivor and thriver. And I want to talk a bit about how you discovered that you had chronic hives, what led to your current treatment. But first, did you ever have dermatological issues prior to the hives?
No, never.
Really?
Never.
So what do you think, when did you first get diagnosed with chronic hives?
A while back. I didn't know what they were for the longest time.
How long? How long did you have signs?
It was years. I had taken a business trip out west and I had flown that day and I went to bed that night, or I was preparing to go to bed that night, and I noticed this lump on my shoulder. It was itched and swollen and red and I didn't know what it was. It disappeared the next day. So I didn't think anything of it, but that began the saga of breakouts and going to doctors, and
no one could figure it out?
They could not figure it out.
Really? So you had that one little patch,
yeah,
and then it went away, and then when was the next time you saw it, and then when did it become more of a chronic issue? How long did that process take?
Over the course of several months, I was going back to the family practice in town and seeing a couple of doctors, and I finally saw my family nurse practitioner, and I was telling her my woes and trials and tribulations, and she's like, wait a minute, there's something here. And she couldn't think of what it was, and she tracked me down in the parking lot. She said, research dermographism, which literally means skin writing.
Oh, interesting. I've never heard of that term before.
So I looked it up, and I was like, well, this is kind of it, but not really. But I said, it hits really close. She says, well, I will refer you to a dermatologist. Well, that started a whole nother scratch.
And were they able to home in a little bit more on what the issue was, even at a dermatologist's office?
Dermatologists could not. We started with numerous medications, and the bad thing was, whenever I would go to the doctor, I was clear. It was when I wasn't there, I would break out in hives.
Of course, right.
They couldn't see anything firsthand. So, but they kept getting worse and worse. So finally one day I was at the doctor's office and I was just broken out. Front, back, legs, arms, torso.
Was it painful? Are the hives painful?
They can be.
Yeah.
Swollen, itchy, red.
And any medicinal topicals, it doesn't really calm it down? It doesn't soothe or ease the pain?
At some point I counted that I had been on at least 14 different medications and 2 topicals of different strengths, and nothing helped.
Let me ask you this, because for me personally, anytime I experience some kind of skin irritation, I immediately go to allergies. And I know that that's one of the things that people say, you know, you may have an allergic reaction to your bed sheets, to a food that you're eating, to something that you're wearing or exposed to. So did you have an allergy test at some point during this period?
And early on, one of the first doctors I'd seen, he went through the whole gamut. You know, have you changed your diet? Have you changed your laundry detergent? Have you changed your shampoo, your bath soap? And nothing.
So where did it come from?
They don't know.
We still don't know.
They don't know. When I had seen the dermatologist and I was fully broken out, he said, I'm sending you to Dr. Ramey. He is the hive guy. So when I finally get to Dr. Ramey, he runs the allergy test. He runs blood work. He checks me for all sorts of conditions and diseases. And he comes back and he says, well, you have very active histamines.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said, but you're not allergic to anything that we can find.
How bizarre. And it
Very
wasn't
bizarre.
stress-induced either, because a lot of times people can break out in rashes and hives because of stress.
Right.
So you didn't have any of that going on in your life?
Well, it didn't seem to exacerbate it any. It just, they would come on for no reason.
That's so bizarre. Okay, so now let's fast forward. So he's diagnosed it, you figured it out, and then what treatment has helped you? Because you're wearing short sleeves and you look clear.
At that point, there was nothing approved for treatment of chronic urticaria, which is just hives that just break out, and they were not given any reason for breaking out.
So were you able to find something eventually that is cleared
Eventually,
up?
he finally comes in one day after many years. He says, there's a new medicine out there that we can try. He said it may or may not work.
What is it called?
Xolair.
Okay.
And for me, it was a game changer.
Wow. Is this something that is topical, or is it a
It's
pill
an
that you
injection.
take? Oh, an injection.
It's an injection.
How often do you have to get these injections?
It depends on the person and how they may respond to it. But for me, the first injection, it was a game changer.
So for anybody who's watching this who have experienced something very similar, what would you, to advance the process to getting to the solution, what would you recommend that they do that you wished you had done sooner rather than later?
Find yourself a good allergist.
Yeah.
Mine is the Hive guy.
He's the Hive guy.
He's the Hive
Thank
guy.
you to the Hive guy for figuring it out. And what's the name of the treatment again?
Xolair.
Xolair. Okay, so it's an
Xolair.
injection that only the doctor can give you.
Yes.
And it's not a regular,
No, it is
like clockwork
not.
type of thing. So how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
Well, you look great.
I've got an injection scheduled for tomorrow.
Do you?
Yes, and I don't miss my injections.
No, not unless you want to live in misery.
Absolute misery if I don't get them.
Goodness gracious. Thank you so much for sharing this. Really appreciate it. I know it's
welcome.
going to help a lot of viewers. So you look fantastic.
Thank you. I
Thank
feel
you.
fantastic.
Good. That's what's important. We're back after this.